Absolutely.
Well, I'd just like to mention a small couple of things from Jim Gilmartin in his President's summary. He wanted me to mention that on the issue of water quality, you may remember that back in 2019, the ECCL did a survey here in Estero amongst the residents, and perhaps no big surprise, but it's worth underlining, water quality was the one thing that was topmost in terms of people's concern here. I'd just like to read a couple of the notes that Jim mentioned to me. Obviously, water is essential to life, and Florida is also an economic engine that fuels 94 billion in annual tourism spending and 12 billion in local and state sales, hotels, and exercise taxes, according to Rockport analysis. When our waterways suffer, our economy suffers too. Now, the ECCL, of course, has its own counsel in relation to the whole issue of environment, and water quality, of course, is important in that. But some time ago, as Jim, I think, has mentioned, we felt that it was important to become more involved in a way that connects many of the other organizations that focus on this area. That, you know, the collective voice would obviously be more important than perhaps just the individual voices, either making suggestions to our own village council, or perhaps more importantly to the county commissioners. So the ECCL and Calusa Waterkeepers have combined to promote this whole issue a little bit more fully, and there is in fact a special meeting that's being held here at Estero Park and Recreational Center on the 20th of this month, on April 20th at 10 o'clock. We will release that information in our notes, but if you'd like to make a note of it, so it's April the 20th at 10 o'clock. And the subject is what we know about the quality of Southwest Florida water. It isn't pretty. Learn how your community can help. One of the things that we are actually making a call to action about is that a major ECCL and Calusa Waterkeeper goal for reducing nutrient runoff is to establish a demonstration project to reduce nitrogen pollution and integrate it into an existing community as an example for potentially broader application in the Estero Bay watershed. So what this involves is for those communities, and you within it, can obviously speak to your community management and ask them if they would like to become involved in helping the quality of Estero's water with its lakes, river, and Estero Bay. And while we have to start with small steps, the Calusa Waterkeepers and ECCL will discuss with those management groups in the gated communities the various priorities that could be included. The project doesn't detract from the community's natural aesthetics. It minimizes annual operations and maintenance. And the project actually has the potential for external funding. So this is certainly something that you can learn more about from the information that we will provide shortly, and it will probably go out in the April Greater Estero Community Report, which I've been preparing. So keep a lookout for that, and then if you'd like to become involved or get your community to become involved, we could take that further. That's one issue. The last point I want to make, we have Barry Friedman here in the audience with us. Barry, as you know, has been a stalwart together with a working group intent on developing for Estero the Greater Estero Virtual Information Center. This, of course, would be an online access, as you may have heard, to not only visitors who would like to know what they would expect when they come to the environment and what's on offer, but it actually will work very, very much more also for the people who live here, to find out more about what is going on, to be able to access issues like what Dr. Bernanke has been talking about earlier, what's on in the arts, what the next series of projects are. And of course, for those individuals in management who are looking to expand their businesses here, this will be an important site to provide them with a great deal more information. It's taken a while to get to this point, but it's now very close to fruition. Many of the businesses here have already backed the project to the tune of at least $80,000 and probably getting close, I think, Barry, to $100,000 at the moment. And we are hoping that very shortly, now that all of the legal documents have been prepared and the accounts provided with, our banking account has been provided, that we're very much hopeful that the village too will sign off on this important development for Estero. So it is very, very important, and that's why I wanted to mention it today. And thanks to Barry for your wonderful efforts with the team that I know that have been helping you. It's very much appreciated. Thank you, Barry. So I'd like to hand over to Mark to say a few words as well.
Thanks. You know, as Lee Health came and talked to us, right as COVID hit, the 26th of March, we had scheduled a meeting of all the people that work in the community and organizations with veterans and veterans' mental health. And that was 3 days after COVID hit, so that's kind of been on the sideline. But we're trying to bring that back because there is a little bit of a donut hole here in Estero. And not that, you know, some of us, Jim says I can't say old farts anymore, but some of us people, yeah, he's much older than I am. Me and Linda Tico Roach, we're the youngins around here, so, you know, but you can tell her I said that too. But we're working on that, and as workforce housing is important too, as veterans housing is very, very important. You know, it's tough coming back, and you know, we've got the number of homeless people in Lee County. Somebody threw that number out to me, and it was ridiculous. It was like 1,000 people. Yeah. You know, that's ridiculous. So we need to work on some of that. But we'll ask Kim and Karen to come back maybe in November or October to tell us how we do some of those packages for the holidays. I think that'd be good. We'll keep them informed. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we've switched up some of the topics the last couple of months. We're trying to get more what you want and other people have told us. So, you know, if you got any comments, send them to me or Alan, John, Jim, whatever. Next month, okay, May, we've got Mary Gibbs talking community development. That's always a biggie. There's a couple of new pieces going out there that people are already getting excited about. So one of those is how, you know, traffic, water flow, you know, and others. So Mary's always, she loves to come and talk to us. And I give her a list of questions that we're hearing, so she, you know, has the information. We're also going to have Alex Greenwood come and talk to us. Okay, he's always a big hit too. In June, we've actually got the League of Women Voters coming to talk to us about some of the legislative, the 22 Florida legislative session in some of the bills. There's a couple on water. There's a lot on schools. You know, are we going to get to elect potentially our superintendent? You know, some other things. So they're coming in. Dr. Paul Simino from Lee Health is going to talk to us about children's mental health. You know, we all have grandchildren, maybe even some children in the schools. COVID's really affected a lot of people and a lot of kids. Some of them don't want to go back. And right now we're in the middle of our essay contest, both at the middle schools and the high school. The award ceremony is the 5th of May, I think is the right date. So we'll get some pictures on that. It's always great to see the seniors and their essays. We're not going to meet for July, August, and September, but in October we hope to have our meeting at the FGCU Water School. Okay, and Commissioner Mann, well, he's a big proponent of clean water. He should be there for us, and we'll start working on the rest. My replacement will work on October going forward. So Jim doesn't like it when I say that either. But the last thing we're also working on taking very detailed. Any engineers in the room, by the way? Okay, good. All right, just ignore me then. They like a lot of data, a lot of information, and to try to break it down for those of us that are not engineers, I'm a bean counter, so everybody says I have to break it down. But the CIP, the Capital Improvement Program, both for Estero and Lee County, is like, this far on the screen and, 18 pages down. So we're trying to break that down into 3 distinct areas. One of them is roads. What are we doing with roads in the next 5 years? And how design, funding, implementation, like the light at Lowe's. We've been working on that for years, hopefully in the next. So the safety team, Safety Council is working on that one. As Jody talked about the connectivity and public safety, also on these roads, we're building walkways, bike paths off the road. So we're gonna try to show some of that. And the last one we're working on is septic to sewer. I've been throwing out 400 septic tanks we have in the village of Estero. The number's closer to 700. And if you look at the number of lots that could have a septic system, it's about 1,600. So how are we doing things? And most of those are all close to the river. So as soon as we have a flood or a hurricane, we know what happens. We know where it goes. So we're working on some of that the village is working hard on that. They've got a great plan. We're just gonna try to make it a little more graphical, maybe a page and a half rather than, a 65-page engineering report. And again, engineers, I apologize, but we just need to get it, and the younger generation, their attention span is 2 or 3 screens and they're done. So we're trying to do some of that. We're working with David Williams and others. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you as always. He's a human dynamo, this guy. I don't know how he does it all, but thank you, Mark, for all you do for us. I'd like to hand over to John Quinn, our CFO, just to provide a short update on the executive management team that John is involved with.
I'm always last.
No, I'm following you.
Almost last. The one thing I wanted to mention, we're now a 501c3. We took approximately 18 months to reach that point. What it does is give us the ability to do 2 things. Support the community in a very different way. If there are projects out there that the city cannot do, and they need to reach funds, we have that ability to help them. That's one very important aspect of being able to find grants, look to, and improve the overall area. The second is to build funds for special projects. We've talked about a Veterans Park, a Gold Star Family Park, some sort of memorial park. When it's fully developed, would have the ability to go ahead and do that. Sponsor it and bring it to fruition. We can find special projects that our members, our 31 residential communities, if they have a special project that they are looking at that affects the public, we can look at talking to them and seeing how we can help them. All this takes some control. The board approved a financial advisory committee. This council is going to be made up of myself, an investment specialist, a banking representative, a fundraising individual with experience. We have those 4 positions completed. We're also looking for a legal representative, someone in the legal community of Estero who'd be interested in working with us. This is not meeting after meeting after meeting, but this is periodically. The additional positions are for an accounting firm. I'm a CPA. You know what CPA stands for? Cannot pass that test again. All right? However, I'm alone. As a backup, we need to find some redundancy. We also need a second set of eyes to work with the EMT, the board, and with the community. And lastly, we're going to be looking for a marketing specialist. We are in the communication business. We're trying to communicate to you and to our community. We want to be able to find the best way we can present that. That council that we have put together will be looking to put those experts together to be able to advise the executive management team and the board, all right, and our community as a whole. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, John, very much. We're pretty much done today. I just wanted to wrap up with a couple of comments from the communications team. And again, thank you all really very much indeed for being here today. I hope you've enjoyed the meeting. And certainly, you know, if you have, and I hope you have, passed the word out to your friends and colleagues. We'd like to have even more here on our monthly meetings. Being involved in the communications activities and heading up that group, you know, all the things that you see that come out from the ECCL certainly takes a great deal of hard work. And I'm very indebted to the team that work with me to do that. Kim Daly, who has been with the ECCL for many years, Mike Wasson, and Karen, who is here. I don't know if she was here. She may have had to have left, Karen Katz. They work really very hard with me to make all of these communications happen. In fact, just this last month of March, we sent out 15 mass emails, including 3 newsletters, an action alert, as well as 5 emails for 2 sponsors, FGCU and Lee Health. We sent 4 targeted emails regarding the AED survey and an Estero Life article. Over 4,000 pages on our website were viewed, and it was very interesting that the updated development summary that was produced was visited more often than the home page, which underlines the importance of what Mark mentioned a few moments ago about development information and what's going on here in Estero. So that update also encouraged a very large number of new sign-ups to receive our communications, which again illustrates that same point. Of the communications, the AED survey follow-up was opened by nearly 50% of those who received the email. The newsletter for March 9th, which mentioned the developments going on in Estero, also had a similarly high number. And then the various other things, the promotion of the ECCL's March monthly meeting, the actual meeting summary and video was also highly opened and obviously was very popular, as was the Ukraine announcement that we made that I referred to a little earlier at the beginning. The Adopt a Highway summary, and again, you know, our thanks to all the work that the volunteers make in regards to that, which is really, you know, just so amazing here in Estero that we have so many people who volunteer to keep our roads tidy, and of course our congratulations to Julie Ellig for her work in that as well. And finally, the Lee Health and FGCU communications were also opened by way more than 40% of those that received it. So all of those things illustrate, you know, the importance of getting your point across and making them appealing to people. And just the last comment, the Forging a Better Path, which is the summary of the work that the ECCL has done historically and the way in which the village has developed over the last 20 years and what will be done really in the next 10 to 15 years here in Estero, has been serialized by the publication Seabreeze. That too has led to a large number of people following up and purchasing the book, which we were very pleased to produce. For those of you who, if you would still like it, I brought several copies over here today. It's over on the side. You don't have to purchase it, but should you wish to, just see me after we finish. And with that, that really closes the meeting, unless there is any last-minute questions anybody does have that we can take. But certainly, as Mark had mentioned, you know, if there are any particular items that concern you or that you think we should be featuring, do please let us know. We're obviously here to provide information that you feel is important to you. And thank you once again to all of our speakers for their amazing contribution today. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.